everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. My name's Karen Buechs. I'm the host for the evening, actually every evening. Thank you for tuning in. Tonight, I have a wonderful guy. He is running for the planning board. He's bringing new vision to the planning board. Please welcome Tom Jacintho.
Thank you for having me.
I said your name right.
You did say my name right. That's usually the most difficult part of talking to me is pronouncing my last name.
Well, I have a last name that does the same thing, so I understand.
Absolutely.
I am very pleased that you're running for the planning board, and I look forward to your tenure on it.
Well, thank you.
Tell people who you are and your vision.
Well, my name is Thomas Jacintho. Obviously, I'm running for planning board. I'm a Plymouth resident, and I love my town. I've been here a long time. I live here with my wife and my daughter. My wife works with the schools, and my daughter attends the schools. So we are wrapped right up in Plymouth. We love it here.
And you are a fireman.
I am. I'm a full-time lieutenant paramedic for the Hingham Fire Department. I've been there for 19 years.
Wow.
And I came to Plymouth because living in Hingham wasn't going to work out with cost. And Plymouth was the biggest bang for the buck when I looked around, and I couldn't have been happier to pick it.
You love Plymouth. I know you keep saying that.
I know. Yeah, it's a great town. It really is. We've been more than happy to be here.
That's wonderful, and I'm sure your daughter is thriving here in the school system. It's a good one.
She is, and a big draw for us was all the after-school programs that she can get involved with, and all the even in-school programs. I think it's great. I think she loves it.
She loves music. They say about kids who like music, they have a very good brain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. I think she's following our footsteps because my wife and I both were into music growing up. Both were in chorus and theater, and she's kind of doing the same thing. Excellent.
That's wonderful. Now, running for the planning board, I saw you when you were appointed. You came before the planning board. The selectmen, I think, were there also. Not sure. I think sitting there in the audience. Tell us, I liked you then. I didn't even know you.
Sure.
And I liked what you said and how you handled yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I've attended the meetings and I've kind of looked around and thought like, my goodness, there's a lot of the same people here, that attend these meetings and that participate in these meetings. And I mean, aside from just being able to stand up and speak your voice, I'm not really close to anybody on any of the boards or committees or anything like that. We get involved with the school system, obviously, and it was always a shock to me to see how the circles just never really meet. There isn't a lot of involvement on both sides. So in doing that, I kind of thought to myself, how can I get involved? How maybe I could bridge the gap somehow with like my friends and family members and whatnot. So I started looking at town politics. I said, how can I get involved? I want to join a committee, and the town webpage actually has great resources, and it tells you all the open committees and board members that are going to be up for a re-election and whatnot. So I thought to myself, what are my time constraints?
Right.
And how can I do the best for the town with the time that I have? And in looking at it, I kind of settled down on the planning board, because I look at the planning board like I'm going to be here forever. I have no plans on leaving, and I've planned my future, and I think I could help plan the town's future as well by being a member of the board.
You're a team player?
I am. I've always found the easiest way to get around with anything is to work with others. I feel like I'm very approachable. I'm easy to talk to, and I'm willing to work with everybody.
Yet, if you had a good idea, you're not shy to bring it up?
Not at all. Even if I have an idea and I'm not really sure if it's a great one, maybe it'll get shot down, but maybe it is a great one. and I'd like to move it forward.
Well, we won't know until it's brought up, you know, I mean, really.
Yeah.
So now, when you look at Plymouth, and you live in a certain area, I live in a certain area, and when we look at Plymouth, what do we see?
I think we see the different village ideas. So you have your very distinct areas of town that they all have their own different character
Flavor,
and flavor,
yeah.
exactly. So you might draw somebody into a different area based on, what are you looking for? Do you want more of like the hustle and bustle of being in the downtown area, or do you want something more removed and quiet and kind of off by itself?
So you're aware of that. You know, a very smart selectman years ago said, his name was Anthony Shenna, is Anthony Shenna. He said, the thought struck me. The kids in the southern sector, way down by Buttermilk Bay, are different from the kids in North Plymouth. They have different wants and needs, basically the same, but where they would go fishing all the time or, to the beach or whatever. It's different, and he always kept that in mind, the villages. Now, I understand you go to the steering committee, which is very important to the planning board. They're the eyes and ears to the planning board. Talk about the steering committee you go to.
Absolutely. So in attending the steering committee meetings, you really get to hear what's going on basically in your area of the town.
Grassroots.
Grassroots, you have a voice there. And whether that voice is being transmitted any further, you kind of wait to see, honestly. But I think the steering committees are a huge important part of the town. And to have a representative from the planning board on each of the steering committees to really be able to hear the concerns of those different parts of town is paramount to having a successful planning board.
Right, exactly. I used to sit on the Manomet one, and with Randy Parker and a lot of good people, and I miss that, but they're very viable. What else do you see?
As far as the planning for the steering committees?
Well, no, when you look at the town, now, I'm sure you drive through it.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you know there are roads? I've been here 52 years.
Yep.
There are still roads I haven't been on.
I don't doubt that one bit, because my daughter will say she wants to go to a friend's house, and I'm like, I've never even heard of this road.
Yeah.
And it might not even be very far from where I live.
Right.
It just happens to be one of those side roads.
Side little dirt roads that are windy all through.
Or like if you're not from the ponds of Plymouth and you're trying to navigate the ponds of Plymouth,
Oh,
sometimes that can be real tricky.
That's a real challenge.
Yeah.
That Pine Hills used to be like that. I couldn't get out once I got in,
Yep.
but I learned how. It took a while.
Yeah.
But have you been to the Pine Hills?
I have, and I've actually learned that I don't have to drive down the dirt road
Right.
to get
To get there.
So I can keep my car a little cleaner if I
Yeah.
want to go in. I don't have to always take
Right.
the going down dirt roads.
Yeah. I love the Pine Hills. I love what they offer. And before it was built, a very wise man here, Tom Wallace, developed it. He hawked everything he had. And his wife said, okay, put the house up, put this up, and he bought, it was digital land.
Yep.
And he did remarkable, and Tony Green came in and developed it. So not all developers are bad.
They have a lot of green space there too.
Yes.
Which is amazing. You could follow trails forever, and I love to go on hikes or just walks, and I'll tell you, I still haven't hit every trail.
No.
I don't think I ever will.
No.
I'll try. I'd love to.
Yeah.
But it's amazing just to be able to have that and not ever have to leave the town.
I know nature. It's remarkable. And have you been to Mamma Mia's in there? The
I
best
have.
pizza in town.
Sure.
Well, I'm sorry. Dickie. I like his pizza too. But you know what I mean.
Absolutely. All
Yeah.
the businesses in the Pine Hills are great.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you might go, maybe I'll go to the Blueberry Muffin in Cedarville, and I'm like, the line's out the door. Like,
Yeah.
do we dare see if maybe it's shorter? It's not that far of a drive.
Yeah.
You know?
It's nice.
And it is. It's nice. It's different. It's the same great food you're going to expect anywhere else.
So how are you going to distinguish yourself from the other candidate?
I think my biggest distinguishing factor would be the fact that I'm brand new to this. Not new necessarily to the town, but new to the boards and committees and town meeting members. They might not know me. And I'm going to walk right through that door, a complete unknown. I have no bias, and I'm just ready to work. I'm ready to work with everybody.
Listen to everybody?
Mm-hmm. Listen to everyone's thoughts, listen to everyone's takes, and I'd like to listen to what people's thoughts are. Maybe they can guide me on something that I don't understand, because I'm not going to walk in the front door day one with the planning board information book.
It doesn't happen like that. It takes a while. And nobody should walk in with preconceived notions or be led by a activist group, which the other candidate is. Mm-hmm. So when you say you have fresh eyes and you're not led, you really don't even know anybody really on the planning board. They haven't honed you, or
No.
you're just willing to be there and do the hard work.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
all I ask.
Yep. Yeah, I just want to go in and do everything I can for the town. Like, this is a completely new endeavor for me, and I want to be great at it. I don't like to do anything part way or be unsure. I want to grow. I want to learn. Anything I don't know, I can learn. And I want to be that person for everyone.
Well, you know, your background as a fireman too, you're a giver.
Yeah.
They all are. It's one, fire and police, very special to me, always have been. And they give of themselves, a sacrifice.
Sure.
So you're of that ilk.
Yeah, I mean, I've always tried to help my communities, and I've always been very good at it. I'm not to say that I'm like the best ever, but I'd like to be there for everyone. I've never had a question like, well, I don't really like you because of whatever, I'm not going to help you. Mm-hmm. That's just not in my nature.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine that being a thing. You know, and coming from the fire service, you know, having to have a background in building construction and code enforcement and you know, things of that nature.
Good point.
You know, that might give me a bit of a leg up on the planning board. You know, I can already look at a blueprint and understand for the most part. I might not know elevation changes or something, you know, but again, like you said, it'll come with time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will come. Nobody gets on anything. There's a time, even for a selectman, mm-hmm. there's a time period, a year's grace for them to catch up mm-hmm. and learn the ins and outs. And it's intricate. Planning board is buried under tons of paper. Mm-hmm. And thank goodness now we have iPads and computers that
Sure.
can go on that. My husband's office used to be filled with tons of paper. And I used to think, what a waste. Mm-hmm. But that's how they dealt with things then. Yeah. And you have a good group on that planning board as it sits now. Mm-hmm. They're very professional. They listen, and they know what's going on. So you can lean on them, mm-hmm. and I'm sure you have your own ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I don't see a problem with, I wouldn't even ask you here if I had seen a problem.
Well, that's very kind of you to say that.
Yeah, I see you're well-rounded and can be, reasonable.
Well, thank you. I look forward to really getting to know all of them and hearing what they have to offer me. Like I said, I'm not going to walk in day one with I know everything, and I need to do this, this, and this. Tell me what I can do, and let's find a way to make this work, make everything happen.
Well, like I say, you don't have an agenda, you don't have a activist group behind you. So, I mean, you're fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just, the decision to run for this position was just mine and my own. I didn't have anybody pushing me to do anything or saying, hey, I want you to run or do anything. It was just me being me, and that's how I've always been. I see an opportunity to do something, and I want to do it, and I want to help, so I go for it.
Well, you did the research. I mean, you even went on the town website.
Yeah.
And you looked up what's what, who's who, what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the town would like to see some things come in at a, you know, an intelligent level. And I hope I see it myself, you know. Taxpayers are screaming.
Absolutely.
It's very difficult, but you don't want to overrun the town either.
Correct.
So that's a delicate, you know, line to walk.
Yes, it absolutely is. And I'm sure I will, I mean, I might not land it first time, but I'd like to try to keep that line as well as I can.
Right. You know, some people like to talk. There are people that like to get up and just hear their own voice. Don't be one of those people.
I got to be honest, I'm not at all looking forward to watching this later because I'm sure I'm going to hate my voice.
Oh, well, I do too. I don't either. I don't even watch the rerun. But it's because, you know what's going on in your head.
Yep.
You know you have a willingness to do, and when you look at yourself, you go, was that really me? Did I really say that? You know,
Sure thing.
But everybody goes through that.
Absolutely.
You know, radio is best.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But, so talk about the waterfront to me. You know, what do you think? We have a beautiful waterfront.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so the waterfront is a beautiful place. It's a good place for where everybody's pretty much focused on visiting. Again, going back to the town, if you're not looking for a busy area, the hustle and bustle, that you might not really go into the downtown waterfront area. But it's great for tourism, and I think that's one of our biggest, you know, aspects of the waterfront is to draw in the tourism.
Absolutely, we're a tourist town. Now, Steve Bulletin, the chair of the planning board, has a wonderful plan, a land bank.
Yes.
Have you looked that up?
I have. I love the idea of the land bank, and I understand it was originally done on Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard,
Yes.
And it's worked there. I think the way that Plymouth would do it would be a little different, however.
It would have to be.
It would have to be, because we
Yeah.
can't just start a land bank to preserve open spaces as much as we want, and we can do that with a land bank. But we also need to roll in housing, and that's where we get into being able to kind of pick and choose what goes where, and that it really
If at all.
if at all, exactly. You know, we hold that. So when time comes and we need a new fire station or a police substation somewhere, we're not scrambling trying to buy a piece of land from somebody for a crazy price.
$15, yeah.
Exactly. We can have these prices, we can buy them at a lower cost to the taxpayer and just hold them. And then we'll have them for the future.
Right. Now, there's a question on the ballot that's coming up. I love questions on the ballot because it drives people to the polls.
Yes.
But this is very serious. And it is, you know, whether to buy that whole tech, put money aside
Yes.
to purchase that whole tech land, if they're so inclined to sell it.
Yes.
We should be in line first.
Yeah, we take that first right of refusal. I think it's important that, again, on the same vein of the land bank, we want to be able to control what goes where in that land area. do we want to develop it? There's areas that just, it probably wouldn't be good at all for any kind of work to be done
No.
with the resources that are there. But we can, in fact, preserve a massive amount of that
It's
area.
prime real estate, but you wouldn't want to see it flooded with condos or
No.
anything like that.
No, I think, I read one of the studies that, wasn't a study, it was a survey that just came out about the traffic, just on 3A, you know, trying
Oh,
to
yeah.
get through
Oh,
there.
the traffic is awful.
I mean, the traffic's already bad. Like,
Yeah.
now imagine being stuck behind all the cars that want to get just to there. There's no good way to get
Rocky
there.
Hill Road. Yeah. But it's a beautiful area,
Yeah, it really is.
just picturesque. A lot of people feel they've lost the flavor of their town, and they say so very loudly.
Yeah,
But, you know, certain things can be done if it's done intelligently. You know,
Absolutely.
mixed use.
yeah. Mixed-use properties is, you know, that's really been driven forward in a lot of other communities too. You know, and especially popular with, you know, younger generations where they have that workspace, residential space, all in one. You don't have to leave. You know, again, that can alleviate traffic
Right.
if someone's going to stay there and not leave. And then you can draw in businesses too.
Absolutely. And the first place I saw that years and years ago was California. And Tony Green went out to California and saw that
Yeah.
and brought it back. And voila, you got the Pine Hills, you know, mixed use.
Yes.
So it's very doable.
Absolutely is. But we have to be smart about it too.
Yeah,
We have to think ahead and think, what is going to make sense?
where it's going to make sense.
Where is it going to make sense?
Yeah, where is
And
important.
Where can we go that won't be an additional burden on the taxpayers? Because if we're going to develop an area or a developer's going to develop an area, we want to make sure that we're not going to have to build an entire new school or have to add a whole nother fire station or, you know.
That's coming anyway.
Yeah.
You know, Tom, that's coming anyway for the southern sector.
Mm-hmm.
It has grown so much that it's being talked about. And so we need to alleviate somewhere along the line, the tax base.
Yep.
And there are businesses out there that have very little employees, like AI.
Absolutely. I've seen some of the data on data centers.
Data
But
centers, yeah.
If you look at that, like you said, very low impact.
Very low impact, low
and
traffic.
Low traffic, and looking at somewhere with high power infrastructure,
Yep,
like maybe the Holtec properties could be a good spot. Or somewhere where someone wouldn't want to build a home or a business, like next to a sewer treatment plant or something along those lines.
right. Well, things can be done. But, so you know these things potentially can come in. And, you know, having the planning board we do now and the potential of you, I think we're on the right track.
That would be great. And I would love to be on that track with everyone.
Yeah, I think you have a lot to offer. Have you met any of them?
I have. I believe I've met almost all of them. And like I said, they've all been very cordial, and I look forward to working with them, really.
Yeah, they don't like to interfere when you have, you know, take the selectmen, new people are running, they don't like to interfere, and you'll never see the town manager show up at a fundraiser or anything like that. That is totally separate,
Yep.
and they keep it that way.
And that's understandable. You don't want to have any kind of unfair bias or anything
Right.
going into it. But I think more importantly for me, just to introduce myself so people know that I'm serious and that I'm interested in talking to them, in an opening conversation.
Well, you have some forums coming up, the League of Women Voters,
Correct.
Pine Hills is holding one.
Yes.
I think it's Plymouth One, Plymouth Now?
The Plymouth First.
First.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay, and WATD. And then
My calendar fills up so
there's
fast.
something else, and I don't know what it is, but I've seen it. So everybody has a chance to hear.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's important. We want to have everybody to be able to say their side and for people to really get a feel of who they are. You don't want anybody to miss out on hearing your voice.
So wrapping up here, tell the people you'd like their vote, number one.
I'd like your vote.
Yes, and why you'd like to sit on the planning board.
I'd like your vote, and I'd like to sit on the planning board to really ensure the future of my family. Oh, over here. I'm sorry. First timer. I'd like your vote, and I'd like the opportunity to sit on the planning board and really secure the future for my family, your family, my child, everybody's children, to be able to live in Plymouth comfortably, to afford Plymouth, and to be able to stay in Plymouth and enjoy it for years and years and years to come.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, you know, this is my candidate, and I hope you vote for him May 17th. Come out and vote. And 2 weeks from now, I have a school committee member on, a young man, Hunter Young. He is wonderful, and I promise you're going to love him too. Thank you for tuning in. See you in 2 weeks.